Hey guys, it's Julie from Plan to Create, and I am getting ready to set up my February calendar, so I thought I would bring you guys along for the process. I figure I'm doing my job if there are a few things written on my pages before I film a plan with me. And I know that seems weird. Typically it would be tempting to be like, oh, don't add it yet, because I need to save it for the video. But that's definitely defeating the purpose of me using this planner in a way that I want. So for other people it may work for them, but for me I can't hold off, because in the process of time I will have forgotten what I wanted to add. So I just go ahead, I lay it out. I know I could use sticky notes, but I go ahead and stick it on my planner so you can see that there are some things here already added. And the other thing that I really decided about that too is that, you know, I love to pick like some colors to work into my monthly pages, my weekly pages for an entire month. And so one of my big excuses was always like, well, I can't really pre-plan because I don't know what colors I'm going to want to use. Well, I took that little excuse out of the equation earlier this week when I decided that I'm just going to use these accrue, how do you say that right? Anyway, these colored dots, they're from the planner spot, and I am adding any future appointments that I have on my calendar. You know, I haven't quite gone through my entire calendar yet, but I definitely started to do it for February because I wanted to just go ahead and get those in. You'll notice I'm not writing as much detail. I'm basically putting a dot and the time of the appointment, and then as the month gets closer I can add in some more details once the appointment is like for sure solidified. But worst case scenario, if something changes, I could, you know, lift up a sticker, I can draw a line through the time that changes. I'm trying to learn to be more flexible with that. I really hate scratching things off my calendar, but it's a calendar. It's what it's for. It's meant to, you know, go ahead and jot those things down, have them on there. Before I jump into planning a new month, I always like to look back and give a glimpse to the previous month. I like to observe and see what worked, what doesn't work. I mean, there are things design-wise that I can see that work and things that I didn't appreciate, but also, you know, adding in too many things on this page starts to just make it really cluttery for me. So the less I add on here, the better for me. And I'm wanting to do a little bit of tracking. I obviously like to see my appointments. This month I used this light colored washi, and then I used the N79 Tombow to mark off some dates that were stretched across several days. Honestly, even those kind of blend in with the colors that I used. And I'm in this like funny dance, like I don't really want it to stand out, but I don't want it to blend in. So this next month I'm gonna stick with my really neutral palette. These accidentally, I thought that they were Avery removable labels, and I cut all these down, did a cute little color coding situation of brands that I wanted to share and days that I could film. I thought it would be really clever of me, but the whole point of that was that they would be removable and I could shift them around if and when I needed to, and turns out they were permanent. So I was like, okay, they're stuck, they're staying, you know, whatever, it's fine. But I obviously learned that lesson. I really enjoyed this sidebar. I feel like it really maximized the space, it utilized it well, and everything here has a purpose. I am using these to track some things that are just private, and so I'm thinking at the beginning of the book how we have this section here, I have 0 plans, you know, before this, but I'm feeling like at the end of the month I might transfer some of this information here so that I have an absolute year at a glance. I think that would be interesting. In the past I have spent a good chunk of time filling out my month and then I don't look back to it. And so having little tasks like this, you know, that keep me, or tracking, it keeps me coming back to these pages, and then I'm able to glance and see, and it still really helps me to see, you know, this week, like, oh wow, I really only have 1 appointment, you know, out of the house that I have to be at. So I have all these other days to fill. I enjoy seeing that. You can see I'm really trying to schedule things on Thursdays. That's like my day off. I, you know, can go run around and do whatever I want, and then I'm not interrupted throughout the day. I love solid chunks of time to work. So I'm kind of figuring that out as I go. That's another lesson learned, and it's working for me so far. Getting a little congested on Thursdays, but it's okay. One thing that I enjoyed having to glance at was like the focus area of my house that we want to work on throughout the week, but I don't like where it is right there, so I'm not going to do that again. I really thought I wanted to keep those week numbers there, but the reality is that I don't need them. I don't think I refer to find the week number there as often as I would just look here. So I think I'm okay sacrificing that, and then I can move all my stickers over to be justified over to the right, and that will make me a little bit happier, I think. Something I added here were some goals, and I'll talk about that a little bit more as I'm filling this out. But let's go ahead. I think that kind of gives you a glimpse of like the kinds of things that I'm looking back and just learning from and seeing what I like and what I don't like. One last thing I wanted to mention in that is that you'll see I have this kind of light line. I used my Tombow N89 and just came through and drew a line through all of the boxes, even the red and the gray ones. I had seen Nicole from All My Intentions on Instagram had done that on her pages, and to me, I liked the way it looked. I feel like these lines randomly showing up, they're bothering me a little bit more this year than they did last year, and I feel like this kind of lets it, like, all the boxes have a line. Those ones just have a different color line instead of it being so different, like no line, some lines. This is very sporadic for me because I don't follow a Chinese New Year or Japanese year. It doesn't make sense to me why they're highlighted or not. Wish to heaven's sakes that they would just leave it blank. That would be amazing. But you know, it's not my planner. It's not my call. So I will do the best I can, and I feel like having that line across the top of all of them makes it look a little bit more cohesive, like it's all on purpose. So let me grab out some stickers. I'm really excited. I'm not yet quite done with January, so I still have those up here, but February is right here, this kit. I've been itching to bring this guy out. And then I have these calendar stickers that I want to use here. I've been using them. Normally I always put these guys on my weeks, but I have been using at least 2 of them here on my month, so that gives me 2 more to use throughout the month. So I have 1 left for January to use on my last week to plan for January, and now I'm going to go ahead and use some February. But I like the calendar, then full box, and then calendar situation here. Okay, something else I had thought of, and so I'm going to kind of add a new wrinkle, is to leave a little bit of space up here up top because I wanted to add like a February scripty sticker. I should probably check and see how big those are before I do this. Okay, these are the 2 options that I have. I think I'm leaning towards something soft like that. It'll just be kind of like a little bit of a softening thing over here on the sidebar because I have a lot of grids, a lot of things going on. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way up to this margin over here. But I think I like that. Just a fun touch. Because I'm going to refer back to this page most often, I think I would like to use one of my favorite stickers from this kit here. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this Louie. Then we'll do another calendar. And these are different widths, the calendars and her full box stickers. So, you know, this edge is jagged, but because it's white and it's light, I'm not real worried about that. This feels like surgery to me right now, like I'm being watched and evaluated for surgery. You guys should try this sometime, I swear. Okay, last month I used her cute goals sticker from her main kit, but I'm not subscribed to her full kit. I just get the small one because that's typically I just don't use enough of the stickers to justify it. So I'm gonna actually come through and grab this goals. I think I probably have other ones like that too. But that's kind of what's nice about keeping those around, is that I can do this. Taupe small mini dots is what I used last month, and I think I'll do those again. This is one of the colors that I'm just going to keep in my repertoire all year. So you can see I have multiple of these guys. The ecru, the taupe, probably her blush, basically, are colors that I can see myself mixing in and around with everything. So that's kind of the idea. If you follow the planner spot, you know that every year she picks like 3 areas. She has her wellness goal, her family goal, and her business goals. I don't really need to poke with my gosh. So I really spent a lot of time, and I went through and I decided that one of my fitness goals, my ultimate fitness goal, is to be active. That's my goal. It's not about losing weight. Of course I would love to, but I'm at a point in my life where I'm really trying to just accept where I'm at, do my best to stay healthy, and so being active is my overall goal, and one of the ways that I can ensure that every month is to plan 2 hikes each month. Figure out where we want to go, when we're doing it. So that's something that I need to figure into this calendar. My next goal is to maintain our minimalist household and to just stay on top of it. So throughout the weeks, each week you're going to see I have things about my focus area where we clean, we purge, and we organize. But on a monthly scale, I'm just wanting to update my home wish list. So I recreate that every month so that I have a list of things, like as we're getting ready to make our purchases, I feel like I need to have a list. Like, so if I see a rug at one store, I have to evaluate that. Like, well, gee, Julie, you've had these lights, these 3 lights on your wish list for 3 months waiting to buy them, and now you're just going to randomly go and buy a rug? No, you're going to put the rug on the list and you're going to weigh it against the lights and decide which of those 4 things you want to actually purchase. That's the discipline that I need to do, and so that's why I am making myself go through the wish list each month, making myself really think through, and then we can then decide from our budget what we want to do this month versus what we want to continue to save for. And then my 3rd goal has to do with plan to create, and that is that I want to batch content. So I'm trying to work smarter, not harder. I have a goal of sharing a video once a week But if I wait until Wednesday to share my Thursday goal, that quickly becomes a stress to me. It absolutely loses the fun of it. But if I film on the 8th and I film 2 videos that are ready to go the 17th and the 24th, then I'm like, whew, yeah, I've got all this time to get all that stuff done. Just a way better way for me to approach it. So batching content and prep scheduled. So that means I can schedule out my videos, and that's great, but then I need to look at it and go, what day can I film? What day can I edit? What day can I do the description box, so that I'm not waiting to the last minute for all of those tasks, and so that I kind of have a way of pacing it out, and I'm looking realistically at my schedule. Like if we're traveling or if we have several appointments during one day, it's not going to happen that I film a video that day, most likely. Okay, so this spot I reserve for the Tombow like swatches of the markers that I decide to use, and this one I do 4 dots. It's kind of the color scheme of the things I know I want to use. So I'm thinking I'm going to pull out this rose, I keep calling it rose, like I'm being fancy. Rose, ecru, taupe that I already have tucked away, and blush. I think I have all the other 3 colors already in my planner cover. I love to keep these colors right here so that I can use them quickly and readily. I have my January colors handy, but I will start to switch that out as February approaches. So I've got ecru, blush, and taupe. Those will be my colors. These 4 dots represent the colors that I want to use this month in February, but they also stand for something else. I like to come through and swatch out the Tombow markers that I'm picking that coordinate, and you can see I actually make an adjustment. Like the one pink is just too light, so I choose a darker color. But this little spot is a place where I track our rental income. I have 3 renters, and then I need to remember to do a Venmo payment. So you're going to see I'm going to stick their initials up there, so as each girl makes their payment, I'll check it off. And then I do come through and add the actual Tombow numbers that I've selected as well, because it's just a good reference for me. I get questions a lot about the colors, and I sometimes just get fuzzy, so this is a great spot for reference. So you remember as I was reviewing January, I wasn't wild about how I had laid down those permanent stickers for my filming dates. And I spotted this perfect square page flag, and I thought, ooh, I can make my own film stickers that are repositionable, that I will be able to move around. And I love that those squares fit so perfectly in these boxes. So I go to town, I create some labels, several of them actually. I do 2 for the monthly view in these larger squares. And then I create a couple on just some page flags that I intend to put back in my weeks. So I have it available in all the different layouts that I use on the regular. And I'm so happy. I love that I'll be able to switch these around a little bit, but that they still give me some ideas of what I'm shooting for. And then I'm like, once that week arrives, I can shove them around a little bit if they need to be moved. All in all, I'm really pleased with how February has come together. I'm happy with this little solution I created for something that I noticed in January that did not work. And so that's part of what I'm suggesting, is just take a second to look back at where you've been, think about where you want to go, and what little tools you can use to help you get there. I'm here to reiterate that not all of this came together perfectly in January, and it's unrealistic to expect that. So just be patient with your planning process. Slowly tweak things each month until you get where you want to go. And then guess what? You'll probably want to be going somewhere else the next year. So, just allow that process is kind of the message I want to send, and that I hope you're witnessing along with me. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you have something that you want to share in the comments about a little tweak that you've made in your planner, I would love to hear about it.